I do not have a funny opening line because I am extremely tired. I went to bed at 6:30 this morning because we ended up watching the Conor McGregor versus Khabib fight last night. Went on for quite a while. Woke up at 10:30 and here we are now, all glazed over and fucked.
I am tired for different reasons. I didn't watch the match. The fight. What happened, by the way? Who won?
Khabib won the fight.
No way!
Submitted McGregor in the 4th round. But that's been forgotten about quite quickly because after the fight, because obviously there's a huge backstory between those two, I won't go into it too much, they hate each other basically. It was in the news. Do you remember when McGregor attacked that bus at a different UFC event with Khabib on it? Threw a trolley through the window and it injured a load of fighters. And one of them had glass in embedded in their face.
The point is they hate each other, yeah.
Yeah, after the fight, Khabib jumped out of the octagon and started assaulting one of McGregor's teammates. And then out of nowhere, one of Khabib's teammates jumped into the octagon, punched McGregor in the face, and there was riots in the crowd. Police were involved, they were separated quickly, and it was all like very dramatic. And when Khabib was exiting, well, he was being escorted out of the arena, a load of people throwing stuff. It was like a WWE thing, man. I don't think it was staged, but it looked like it was straight out of Vince McMahon's brain.
Friday Night Raw.
Yeah, basically.
Lay the smack down. All we needed was Steve Austin to open a can of whoop-ass and it would have been a perfect evening.
Anyway, I'm barely breathing and I am drinking bourbon and Pepsi. I need the sugar. So that's my excuse. This is kind of like a hurried podcast because, the Venom film came out recently and we thought we'd do not a special edition, it's the same shit.
Yeah, Venom special, why not?
But the reason why it's special is because it's a film all three of us have seen and we've just come back from it and we went together and it was a very magical occasion.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it's not very often that all three of us have actually seen the film and together. Like, 9 times out of 10 it's something that you guys have seen that I have some kind of outrageous, completely unjustified opinion on for something completely unrelated.
And you don't really go to the cinema at all, really.
I don't really like the cinema. Controversial, I know. I don't particularly like it. I don't like not being able to pause it and fuck off and wee. You know what I mean? I like to be able to wee whenever I like.
I like to be able to do what I want when I'm watching it.
Yeah. I want to be able to go get snacks.
I know what you mean. I kind of practically have to dehydrate myself before going to the cinema.
Yeah,
for
I
that
don't want to
reason.
wee in this stuff.
Especially as most films last like 2 hours now.
Films are getting longer and longer, for sure.
Well, Venom was a comfortable 112 minutes long.
Yeah.
So just under the 2 hour mark.
I did feel like it was slow to start though.
Oh yeah, very, very slow to start. I was like...
Background story though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to establish the characters and blah and whatever.
Because he didn't bond with the symbiote until like the 2nd act. So it was very lengthy character introduction. Anyway, what did you guys think of it?
I think it's a perfect Sunday afternoon hangover film. Like, there's just enough action to keep you awake and entertained because of all the lols. Like, Venom is sassy. I like how I love Venom. Like, he is one of my favourite... Well, he is my favourite Marvel character. And, like, has been for a long time. But as a film... I found like the CGI was fucking amazing.
It was actually.
I thought the CGI was very, very good. Like, especially when he was like fighting, what the fuck's his name? Riot. Yeah, especially when he was fighting Riot and they kind of merged.
Fighting generic villain name.
Yeah, Riot. Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, I was excited.
I like the liquid
the
fights.
liquidiness.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean...
There's a huge chance we'll end up letting some plot details slip, so listen at your own risk. I can't guarantee anything.
But no, the liquid fighting was amazing.
It was very cool.
I love that. The whole faces looking at each other. There was like 2 different battles going on at once, wasn't it? They were beating each other up while the other ones, because they were the humans defending themselves while the symbionts defending themselves and defending the humans to keep them going.
It was the weirdest thing, wasn't it? Yeah. It was very cool.
I loved how he implemented his own body into combat.
Yes.
How he adapted into it like straight away. It was very clever. I enjoyed that.
He's got a lot of cool shit. See?
Yeah.
It's like that huge axe comes out and just like, told you.
Yeah. You haven't seen shit until, yeah. I did like his attitude.
It was an interesting spin where Venom was like, yeah, on my planet, I'm shit. I'm a loser just like you. I was like, oh shit, I thought that he would be some sort of
badass
motherfucker, yeah, some sort of king, but no.
Well, he would be on the Earth now.
Yeah, that's why he wanted to stay, wasn't it? But yeah, the interaction between
alienated on his own planet.
The interaction between Brock and Venom I thought was hilarious. They were like a comedy duo.
Yeah, I like them
like
a lot.
R2 and 3PO in way of the Marvel world sort of thing.
I like the use of their pronouns, how like over time he started using I and was more accommodating of like we and us and things like that. I thought the language transformation was interesting for me.
Did not like the bad guy.
Rage.
No, well...
He's known as Rage in my head now.
Rage is...
Colton Drake, the head of that... I was gonna say Oscorp.
I have seen him in a Doctor Who episode, and he plays the exact same fucking character. He's been in a Doctor Who episode before as like the young brilliant genius who's actually evil.
Yeah, I don't know what sort of vibe he was going for. Like, if he was going for some sort of, like, cerebral businessman, he wasn't interesting enough to encapsulate me. He wasn't, like, savage enough for me to be, like, intimidated or threatened by him either. He was kind of like a nothing bad guy. Like, yeah, when he bonded with Riot, obviously everything kind of changed, but it was him on his own for most of the film. I just didn't enjoy it. Him.
You didn't like
that
him as a
much.
character?
Yeah, either it was terrible writing,
He didn't really bring much.
No, it could have been bad writing, or he just wasn't there. He was phoning it in for a paycheck, but either way,
I kind of liked that about him though. I liked that his character, in comparison, like wasn't trying to share the spotlight. You know how some villains and some like evil people, like the thing is Venom's meant to be you know what I mean, like
he's an anti-hero.
The anti-hero and the villain. I guess we'll use those words. So the villain in this one is that guy, the businessman guy, but he wasn't trying to steal the floor in a way that so many bad guys do. You know what I mean? A lot of the time it becomes more about the bad guy, but this film was about Venom. You know, I like that it didn't try and take any light away from that.
They kept him more to Venom.
Yeah, that's why I quite like that he was generic and bullshitty, because most bad guys kind of are. Like, if you were to try and big him up in any other way, I feel like it would have been a bit forced and cheesy.
Yeah, in a way, even Eddie Brock was kind of like the background of Venom's movie, even though it's obviously the same guy, but it's very like heavily on him, as you said. I do have like it's rated 15. I thought it was very clean for a 15.
It would have been a 15 because of the stabbing at the end. Because you saw the penetration.
There was no blood.
There was blood?
No, like there was.
Not like blood.
He just kind of threw the corpses into the shadows. It was just like I thought it was going to be more gruesome. Basically, more
like Wolverine.
Yeah, that kind of vibe.
Savage.
I just expected it to be gorier, so I was kind of like a little bit, okay, but I was entertained. It's been getting slammed by critics.
Yeah, I've heard that it's been getting really bad.
Why is that?
I didn't read other people's reviews. I just had a quick browse of the percentages, and a lot of people called it like I didn't like go into it, but the words like generic and boring and like banal basically, and they see it as a narrative.
To most films, I'd say it's close along the lines more like the Spider-Man and Deadpool route type films.
Yes, I was thinking it was quite similar to Deadpool in that Venom was so sassy.
Did it ever remind you when you was watching it, Mrs. Doubtfire?
Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yeah, like the road where she lived and everything just reminded me of Mrs. Doubtfire. Like so many of the scenes, it made me just think of Mrs. Doubtfire.
The lawyer's house?
Yeah, like some of the areas
and all.
It just felt like Mrs. Doubtfire some parts.
Jenny Slate was in it. I appreciate her being in it. She looks so different. We know her from Parks and Recreation. You know, John Ralphio's sister.
Yeah, she played the scientist, didn't
she?
She
did. Yeah. She's very funny on Twitter. I recommend that you follow her.
In terms of box office success, it's doing right. It's currently got just under 43 million worldwide gross. That was as of the 6th. It was out in this country on the 3rd of October. It's expected to make over $160 million. These figures are all in dollars. And its budget was just over 100 million. So it'll profit. There are plans to cross over into the Spider-Man universe because Sony said, well, they share a universe. That's what everyone wants to see. So they're going to do that. Tom Hardy has signed on for 2 more sequels.
We knew at the end of it that we were going to get another one. Obviously, there's spoilers.
I enjoyed that cutscene.
So I'm guessing that would be him and Carnage, and the other one might be him and Spider-Man then.
Yeah.
Because that will make the Spider-Man kid grow up a bit more as well.
They might have them team up to face a greater evil.
maybe.
for a bit. Who knows?
Well, in the cartoons, they did get on for a bit for quite a while
In the comics.
Because he likes Spider. Because of course they learn. It's a bit like the whole Predator thing with the other one. They learn other things and they take on. So he learned the webbing from him, and that's where he had That's why he looked different.
I was going to ask how it was compared to the comic book version.
It's quite different to say because every time you met him in there, he was always interacting with Spider-Man, and he hated Spider-Man. So I've known him as much as he was a guy who went out like that, but majority of the time he was a bit of a dick loner, and he used to just work out in his room all the time.
It goes without saying that he was way better than the version of Venom in Spider-Man 3. I mean, everything about him, appearance, obviously, because technology's moved on a lot since then, and just the character overall.
Who voices Venom?
I needed to look.
Yeah, let's do a thing.
So no, Tom Hardy did do Venom's voice as well.
Did he?
It says Eddie/Venom. I can't find Venom anyone else.
It would make sense for Hardy to do the voice.
Yeah, I hope they did, and they just messed with it, didn't they?
Oh, of course they did, yeah.
No, I don't know what Venom looked like in Spider-Man 3. I can't remember.
The only ones I know is from the games, but I always liked because it's meant to be quite scary and stuff like that. But I always loved it when Carnage turned up because Carnage was just a psycho.
Yeah.
That was it. That just made it more fun.
Venom was meant to be. It kind of started off life as just an alternative costume for Spider-Man. That's all they were after, really. And then he kind of developed into this whole anti-hero villain type. The look of him was created by a fan of the comics.
Oh, that's even better.
And Marvel contacted them, this guy, I can't remember his name, and were like, we're interested in your concept, can we have it? And they gave him some money and he was like, yeah, cool.
I bet it's like, wow, shitloads of money. Now they're like...
Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Yeah, he first appeared in the comics in the 80s, when he kind of got smushed together with Spider-Man. And then it wasn't until 5 years later he met Eddie Brock. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah.
He wasn't featured heavily in Spider-Man 3 Venom. He was kind of in the background, because there was New Goblin, I think, was the main protagonist in that movie. It's been a very long time, so I think I've only seen it once. But yeah, it was a giant improvement on that version.
No, I
live
agree. I
action
preferred the way he looked on this one.
I liked how he looked wet.
Because he's like a symbiote. So I don't know why I always imagine them wet and shiny, because they're like liquid, because they're meant to form, aren't they? But I love the fact he's just always hungry, wants to eat people, just eats their heads. Why don't you just pile the bodies in the heads? Why? They're piles of heads and piles of bodies. It's like there's no other concept apart from you have a pile of heads and you have a pile of bodies.
I've been on this planet for 5 minutes and I'm already making it look like an idiot, sort of thing.
I did enjoy the film. One thing that annoyed me though was how that girl, the little girl.
The one who becomes the host of the symbiote.
Was it Riot? Not Rage.
Riot was in the little girl, yeah.
Yeah.
When
Riot,
he was travelling to America.
One thing that really annoyed me though about it was the little girl, when Riot was in the little girl. How did the mother not fucking notice?
That the child just walked off the bus afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, the fact is, he walked into the building, into everything else, and they seemed to be absolutely okay with the child just being there.
Well, I feel like the mum would notice a change in the child, because Riot went into the kid and then got on a flight. You know what I mean? That whole flight, I refuse to believe that the mum was like, my kid is acting strange. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I do know what you mean. It would be a bit silly that kid made it all the way over to a different continent without going undetected as a symbiote or
exactly.
behave
But you have to
differently
get
to the
through a
parents.
lot of shit.
Yeah. That's one thing that annoyed me, that they just assumed people would just not notice or just accept. And I was like, no, that would not happen.
When the alien was in that room and they're just having a normal conversation, it was just
the
first time they've seen an alien rubbing yourself against a window, let's have another conversation about the fact is you might, do you like him? There's an alien there. Do you like him? There's an alien in there that's killing people.
What I would have been okay with is if they shortened up that very long introduction or that very slow-paced opening act and just had a scene on the plane where the girl just goes absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Takes the plane down or something like that. And
to make it relevant or to just to explain it a bit. Anything. Not just let us assume that,
everything went smoothly.
Well. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. I quite like that. I love how what was her name?
Oh, she looked cool in the suit. She looked hot.
Oh, are you on about Anne?
Anne,
Michelle,
that's
played
it.
by Michelle Williams.
Yeah,
Eddie
yeah,
Brock's
Anne.
fiance,
Mhm.
ex-fiance. Further in, spoiler
Her.
alert.
Yeah, her. I liked how she was just instantly on board with all of his shit. Like instantly.
And she said she's just ugly.
Yeah.
So she must have dealt with a lot already with him. She has issues.
I loved her in as Venom. She was hot.
I want them both to have Venom sex with each other, like a
Oh
whole
my god!
group
Imagine
threesome.
if you were Venom and you could fuck yourself as Venom. If you're still listening to this podcast, I want you to comment Venom dildo right now.
Ooh, I'd use one.
I would. Oh my god, it'd be so cool looking.
You could get one of those ones that you can pump as well, so you could put the fake coming to you.
You wouldn't
shoots
have
the
to
light.
pump it. It would be a Venom dildo. It would do everything.
That's true.
I mean, it's your fantasy. You can have whatever you like, and Venom would understand. The thing is, you wouldn't even need to tell Venom what to do. He'd already know.
I also enjoy.
Which I find it weird. It still asks questions. Have
I
you
like
asked that? I wonder if that's like a mutual respect in ways. It's like I can work out if I want to, and I know, but wondering if he would just be honest.
But I want you to admit it, yeah.
Yeah.
To yourself. But to me,
He
which
was-
is also yourself.
He was surprisingly considerate,
He was.
and it seemed like he met Eddie Brock halfway with practically everything. He was obedient in some occasions, which was
Yeah.
interesting.
Because don't forget, they need each other.
Yes.
Is he eventually going to die then if Venom is technically eating him from the inside out?
I think when he stops feeding on other people, he then starts to harvest Eddie
Right.
Brock's organs. That's the impression the film gave me anyway. I could be
Because
completely
he said
wrong.
the tank's full, so I'm assuming he
Mm.
has to eat. But then if he gets weak, he eats off Brock, and then Brock gets weak. But when he eats it, he can then heal Brock back up again. Because ultimately, he will want to make sure he's going to survive. Because as he said, you can leave my carcass and go to someone else. He's like, we got a good match here. But I wonder if it is just they're both lost, and they both just seem to be
Yeah.
fuck it.
They both just kind of found each other.
They're both in the same situation. Let's just have some fun. Let's just go and kill people. He doesn't seem to be too bothered at the same time. I bet he's okay with them at the moment.
Well, he only kills bad guys, so it's kind of like a really roided up version of Dexter Morgan. But yeah, entertaining hangover film.
Yeah. I'm quite excited for another one.
It was a different type of good comedy.
What I don't want is I don't want the Carnage one to be next. I want him to meet Spider-Man next. I think that would be more interesting as a film.
And then they defeat Carnage together.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that would probably wear him... Because he's red. And the other guy had red hair. But he also got black.
Oh yeah,
Because how
he
many,
was.
how many of the symbiotes are alive then? Because he must be getting it from somewhere. So Venom is alive. Riot
got killed.
got
Spoiler.
killed.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, it was obvious. He was a disposable baddie, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. To be fair.
The others, well, we know what happened to them.
Mm.
Did that happen to all of them, though?
Well, there's one left as far as we know.
One would escape, which was Riot.
Mm.
The Venom
A
one.
few of them died.
That's what I say, because I'm trying to... I can't
One
remember
of them
how many.
died.
A couple I thought did.
2 of them died. Either way, we've got one left.
Which one I'm not saying about, but
which
yeah.
is Carnage.
Which I'm really looking forward to, because
Mm.
Carnage was... All the symbiotes, think of them as people. They all have their own personalities and everything, but when they take over, but they will play on what other emotions they want the actual creature to follow. They basically are like any other parasite, the ones that like make cats suicidal, so they walk into the road and stuff, just like that. But obviously they want them to stay alive, because if they find something that works with them, they need it to stay alive. So they'll probably look for fucked up people, to be honest, by the sounds of it. They all look to see, that probably is, it's psychotic people that's like, yeah, I'm up for like, oh, you okay killing people and all? A little
Yeah,
bunny
I'm
wouldn't
cool
really
with it.
sit there and kill anything, would it? He'd just sit there eating carrots.
Carnage was played by Woody Harrelson.
Which I really like him as an actor.
Yeah, he was in Zombieland and he was in Hunger Games.
Yeah.
He's been in loads of
Yeah,
things.
you recognise his face straight away.
Yeah.
Like, he was in Solo Star Wars. He was really good in Solo Star Wars Story, actually.
He reminds me.
And
Oh.
3 Billboards as well. He was quite good in that.
I feel like when I look at
Oh,
him,
yeah.
I feel like he could be. Fuck, what's his name? From Sahara.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I feel like he could be his older brother.
They've kind of got the same sort. They look like they're cut from the same cloth, don't
They
they?
do,
And
yeah.
the accent is quite similar as well.
Yeah. They always remind me of each other. I'm opening cake now, sorry listeners if you hear, but...
If you also hear the sound of a very poorly constructed homemade sound booth fall on top of a microphone followed by swearing, that's because a very poorly constructed homemade sound booth has fallen on the microphone and it's swearing. It's its debut. I'm surprised it hasn't fell over yet, actually.
Same. It's holding up alright though.
Not too bad.
I'm not surprised. I thought it'd be alright once we get it balanced.
I passed the wobble test, so...
It didn't the first time.
Oh no.
I wonder if the listeners will benefit from the excellent sound quality and hear the sound of my chewing. Enjoy.
How can you hear chewing? It's a sponge cake.
If we do get it here now, we should get it printed on a shirt for her and then just have that as a shirt. The chewing of that.
Yeah, like how some people kind of get a soundbite of like, I love you, and then make it into like a necklace and shit.
Why not just someone eating cake?
Like print. Yeah, mine just eating cake.
Or macaroons. It could be something you like.
The greatest love of all. My god, imagine if Venom was the hormone monster.
Imagine his hormone monster.
Oh my god, Venom's hormone
Maurice
monster.
is like Venom. Go on, fuck the neck now. You can do it, no one's looking.
I reckon Venom would be like, jeez, this is a bit much, isn't it? No, it's not enough.
I'll tell you what is too much.
Oh, Connie!
But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought...
Oh, was that your attempt at a segue into...
Into Big Mouth.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you're
No,
welcome.
it's good.
I know, right?
I
Shit
just-
doesn't write itself.
I just know it came out a couple of days ago. I'm
Season
staying
2.
clear. I'm still yet to start the new season of It's Always Sunny. BoJack season 5 came out. How is it? Have you watched any of it?
I've started watching some, but I have to be honest, I wasn't fully concentrating on it. Not gonna lie. So I'm gonna have to like rewatch and start from the beginning, I think. Or just carry on and just,
We're about 3 or 4 episodes into season 4, so we're a bit behind. I have been watching the Purge TV series that came out on Amazon. I'm 2 episodes in. It's what you expect. It's set up quite well. Like this is following one particular purge.
Oh yeah.
And each
the whole series.
Yeah, each episode's like an hour long, so it's basically like an hour of that purge, and the next
Okay.
episode's like the following hour. Or there's gaps in between episodes, but not much.
Yeah, it's quite tight sequence of events.
It's following 3 different stories that I'm assuming are all going to meet up and conglomerate at some point during the series. My critique of it is the same as has been for all of the films. It doesn't explore any crime outside of murder. There's a lot, but like the premise is so refreshing. I love how original it is. But it's just like, it's The Purge, let's just turn everyone into Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees and not think anywhere near outside the box.
There's so much other crime that could happen.
Yeah, like the amount of online stuff you could do, your imagination.
What would you do? What would be your main crime?
Oh, murder. No, I don't know. I'd have to be placed in that situation. It also depends what sort of week I'd had.
I'd try and steal things that I wanted.
I think I'd probably go more like a stealing spree than
I'd probably
murdering.
go more stealing than anything.
Yeah.
Like I've got my eye on a really nice sofa, but it's so expensive.
I'll probably go somewhere like a game shop and just steal like a load of games and just sell them like cheap later on. Like just go and buy something I can steal a lot off in a very short like thing that you can sell, because games like 60 quid and you're picking up a case. So you could sell that for like 30 quid on the next day. So you could sell like a fuckload of stuff and make quite a bit of money. I'd steal stuff that I could
but
sell
that would
later on.
be selling stolen goods, and then you could be.
But they're not stolen at
Why
the
don't-
day. See, this is where would that go though? Because if you took it on the day where it's not illegal, technically you didn't steal them. You haven't broken any laws to steal them, but you're selling them, but they're yours to sell.
Why don't you cut out the middleman and hack people's online bank accounts?
I don't know how to do that.
Well, if you really cared enough, you'd learn.
That would be something you learn, but by
probably
doing it then, that also means you've been practicing beforehand.
You're
so
preempting.
That means, and must have done it before breaking the law, before not breaking the law, because the only way you could do it by breaking the law in the first place to practice.
Okay,
not breaking
you
the
could
law.
just practice on Purge Night for a few years and just be very patient.
No,
That would work.
It's 12 hours.
because you could do a lot of the theory, practice around, and only break it on the day.
Yeah.
So I think I'd just do something that I could get a lot of money. But if you're going to do that, I don't know how much I'd take. Imagine stealing out a Trump afterwards the next day. But no, he won't be able to. He'll be
immune.
He'll be protected, wouldn't he? Because some of them are
Conveniently.
protected. Higher ups, a certain ranks down.
High rank government
from
officials.
they're immune, completely immune.
Oh,
to it.
that's really fucking
But
convenient.
does that mean their family's
They
immune?
remit
This is
now.
where it comes off. So then they need all the protection, then, wouldn't they?
I will finish the series. My favourite thing about the whole thing is the different mask designs, just to see what people are thinking about.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy that sort of aspect.
There's a new series of Walking Dead soon.
I've heard. I haven't still finished.
I have a spoiler for you though. Apparently, Rick Grimes dies in this one.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
They did say this because it's going to be last, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to carry it on without him, but apparently there's a poignant moment where the audience is meant to kind of realise and
To
accept.
be honest, with The Walking Dead, they're quite easy game to start it wherever they want, whenever
To
they
be
want,
honest,
because it's random people, group and make them interesting, fighting zombies going around. It's the same thing, same concept all the way through. It's just getting the interesting people and the interesting storylines in it.
Doesn't
They could
always
start
work
anywhere,
though.
though.
Fear of the Walking Dead, I think, is shit.
That's the
comparison.
online one, isn't it? The webinar one, the web one.
Yeah, I mean you can get it on telly, but let me think. I think it's on Netflix, but it's crap.
To be honest, I think all of those are starting to. Cause one person starts it, gets good concept, they're trying to carry it on, and then it dies. It gets too much.
It's literally descended into actual cowboys and Indians.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Have you guys watched any of the slow TV programs on Netflix?
Yes.
No.
The one that I've watched in particular is the train ride from Bergen to Oslo, where it's basically just a POV perspective of the train ride. You go through all these
We are
different
the train.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it's over 7 hours long, but it's one of those things that you put
In
like
the background and then do some
yeah,
shit.
like when I'm animating, I'll put this on my second screen and just look at it occasionally to see the pretty thing, so I don't have to get out of my chair and go to Norway itself.
Yeah.
I think that Slow TV are a Norwegian company because they've done a few of these sort of videos and they're all in Norway. They've done a couple of canals. They've done one here called Knitting Night.
Knitting night.
Knitting night? Is it literally just somebody knitting?
This is 8 hours, 40 minutes long. I read the description. Knitting enthusiasts in Norway discuss the pastime and try to break the speed record for shearing, spinning and knitting wool into a men's sweater.
That sounds amazing. How long is that?
8 hours, 39 minutes. There's
Did they get the record?
I don't know.
I want to watch that.
There's
Who set that record? Like, what the fuck?
But how do you even start that? And like, does someone just cut it and says, "I've done it in this time"? Then someone come up to you and said, "Well, I can do it this time."
They've done a lot more than I thought. National Firewood Morning.
Ooh.
Watch Norwegians demonstrate how to chop and stack firewood and then sit back and enjoy the slow burn of crackling fireplace in Bergen farmhouse. 2 hours 5 minutes.
We watched the train one.
Oh, cool.
It
Salmon
was actually
fishing.
really interesting.
I
Northern
bet
Passage.
it was actually.
All the colours, because you go from tunnels, you went from snow, you went through literally outside to bright to like flowers, you went down to like, you went through so many different places, and every time, I won't deny, the bit I didn't like was the names. It goes dong, you're like, that's a bit harsh, like they needed to turn down that dong naturally in it, but it's nice to know when you pop
That's
up
when
with,
you
like,
take the
pictures.
shot and the drinking game continues.
I quite like things like that. I'm so bad for media stacking. Like, you know, when you have like the TV on, your laptop's on.
Don't I do that?
You've got your phone next to you, you know what I mean? And you've got like at least 2-3 devices before you've even got your TV on. You know what I mean?
I Rocket
I'm
League
so bad
with
for that.
music, and then I'll have a YouTube video playing at the same time. And
Yeah.
if they got music, I'll mute it and just leave subtitles on and just glance now and then, or I just basically leave it playing.
Yeah. So things like that are perfect. Like, primitive technology is great for that. I love putting
Oh.
primitive technology on.
There's no music. I love hearing the background noises,
Just
the
the
things,
sounds of him
because
making
it
it,
sounds
yeah.
like you're outside a bit, but you got your own music, so it makes it more you.
Yeah. There was a BuzzFeed article written about him the other day, talking
Nice.
about it. Yeah, it was really cool.
There's been a lot of imitations of him now, though.
Yeah.
It's
There's a live one of women that do it, and they do it topless, and they don't blur their breasts. They do fishing and everything.
Cool.
Oh, and I just clicked. I thought that it was quite interesting, but when I started watching them like cut up the fish and stuff, I was just like, I can't be bothered to watch them cut up.
Yeah, it's-
Literally, they'll catch it, cut it up, cook it in it. Like they do the whole thing live in front of you. It's like you watch them just do the whole thing
I would be
live.
terrified of it's live.
It's live, and you watch them do it. Though you watching them, it's like YouTube live, and you're doing it when you're watching them.
That's cool.
That's the weirdest part.
I like that it's live. But if it was me, like, I mean, have your tits out as much as you like, each to their own. If it was me though, and I was chopping up stuff, I would feel so scared that I would chop off a nipple. or I'd like just catch the nip. You know what I mean? Like
I'd feel the same, even though I don't have them dangling. It's just you just feel like I know it sounds weird, but you do see it's like clothes. It's like a layer
It's
of armour in
protection.
some ways.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
you?
I won't go near a frying pan without chainmail and a splash screen. Like, kind of thing.
I had a particularly shit Mackey's toy yesterday.
What was it?
And I had 2 McDonald's too. Like you know when you get 2 Happy Meals because one just isn't going to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had double the amount. Don't make it out like I'm the only one that does that.
I get it.
So I doubled up on the toy as well, but the toy was shit, so it was like double amounts of shit toy, which was a shame. It just felt like a waste of plastic. It was like an Angry Birds projectile thing, but it didn't work. And neither of them worked, so it was like just shit.
Do you have a picture of it, or
Is it one of those like? Do you have like you click a button and did it shoot out, or?
No, well that's what I was hoping for, but it didn't click in. You had to do it manually. No, I don't have it in my bag still. But yeah, no, it was bollocks, and it was a shame because the toys that came before that were actually quite good because they had stickers with them and everything. I like it when they get stickers.
I don't understand why McDonald's just never did their own special kind of things, because if they ever wanted to do limited edition, it would make people buy it more because people like doing collectibles.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was so much plastic as well. There was like a lot of plastic wastage. Considering we're in a time now where single-use plastic is like a very big no-no. There's like a huge movement on that at the moment. It's like with the straws, like and like plastic cutlery.
too
and stuff.
late? That's what frustrates me the most about it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the human race.
Oh
People
yeah, of
do it
course.
too
It's
late.
nothing new. We've seen
You
this
can give
before.
someone a warning and they're like, it'll be fine,
Yeah,
future
right.
me will sort it out. And then the future is like,
Future
fuck.
me has it all in hand. Future you does
That
not have it all
guy
in hand.
hates me.
Yeah, honestly, future me. I'm current me, who was future me before, and I'm hating on past me for like many things at the moment. Like, the next future me is gonna be
So is
even
current
more
me.
fucked. I don't know what McDonald's are going to do when this whole single-use plastic thing goes out, because they use so many plastic straws. A paper straw wouldn't be able to withstand the top of the cup. And that's the point. What, they're getting rid of the plastic straw, but what about the top of the cup?
Shit, I never even thought
The
of that.
lid? You know, like the lid? If you put a paper straw in that, it would rip it.
They might just have to go back to the drawing board completely.
Unless
Yeah.
they redesign, because if they're going to redesign the lid, redesign the straw,
They might
They
just
might-
have to redesign
they might
it,
just have a
yeah.
hole which you
Yeah.
just slide it in.
Imagine if they invested like a lot of money into finding a new way of doing it without any plastic
The
whatsoever. They'd make
The
money by
worst
selling
thing
the
is,
idea.
that's what I mean. Like those companies would actually be the best ones because they're the ones who could easily put the amount of money they get. They could easily put good resource in, and by doing that, they could then, as you said, sell them to other companies at a good price, which does that, and also, or even like maybe trade for advertising.
They probably don't think of it like that because they're like, oh, I don't
No, they
care
don't,
about
that's
that.
what
There's
money they
millions
want
of
to do.
people buying my shit as it is.
Yeah.
Because they'll be dead and they won't have to worry about the world they're
Worry
really
about
living.
it when we're broke.
To be fair, it's expensive to come up with that shit to begin with because of testing and products and employing people to do it for you. But McDonald's is like a huge multi-million billion.
They get
You
like
gotta spend
is
money
it
to
they
make
get
it.
You know what I
like
mean?
$1 billion a day or $1 million a day, like in profit, like every day
Probably.
they get
I
like
know.
$1 million worth of like
It's
like,
got to be worth investing, and they probably have a whole team that do this kind of shit anyway. Just pour your resources into something that's greener.
Do you know what the funny thing you said about the whole putting the resources into that? I'd love to know what weird products they have actually, like, just to
What are
see,
they
like,
testing?
because it's like the whole. Have you ever heard like if you put a frog in boiling water, it jumps out, but if you put a frog in cold water and boil it, it doesn't know the difference, and it will boil to death, and it wouldn't know the difference in the heat. Someone paid people
To
to
boil
test this.
frogs.
Yeah, so this is the thing, is like, we literally, that was an actual thing. There's a whole article about it because they're trying to learn how they don't understand temperature. They can't feel the difference changing unless it's dramatic.
Yeah, because like it was heated up slowly, so.
Which
it
they're trying to
didn't
look into
notice.
materials for people.
What
to
should we
keep-
do?
Is that the same thing? Like, was it you that was telling me about this, about the monkeys? A mother and baby, and it would be in the cage, and then they would make the floor hotter and hotter and hotter
But with
until
the-
it was burning. And in all of the cases, the mother was holding the baby up until it got too hot, and then she would stand on the baby and
Look after themselves,
Yeah.
sacrifice the child.
sacrifice the kid for her own life every time.
I respect that.
Elephants, if you went for a female adult, they will protect till they die.
Mm.
If it's a child, they will do everything they can, but they would never lay down their lives for a child, but they will for an adult. An elephant takes 2 years to give birth, so you got to grow up. They're quite intelligent enough to they know the realization in that. So it is horrible, but the thing is that we're not much different to animals. We still do them. There are other animals. If you look out there, camels gang rape. They hold down the child by the neck, and the mother will then lay and let them take turns. And if they do it, they will literally suffocate the child, and they literally take turns. And it sounds horrible, but they do organise this, and it's a lot worse. Chimpanzees also will, the males, if they take over another tribe, will eat all the babies.
Yeah, I've seen
the females will use them as weapons, as you said, to stand on, but to beat crap.
I'm seeing camels in a whole new light now. Anyway, it's been a wonderful podcast, guys.
Sorry.
There's no dickhead of the week. Sorry.
I sound like the one at the moment.
Yeah, let's say that Scott's the
Yeah,
dickhead
I'm
of
the
week.
one.
Yeah, Scott's our dickhead of the week for a mind-numbing lecture on camels.
Repent, and thou shalt be saved.
So gross.
I like to know it, though. It just shows we're no much different. Which means we should just carry on living as we are, because they do.
I do not condone camel gang rape.
No, I don't. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I might get a t-shirt made for you now. I condone
I think
camel
we just found our title.
I like how this is a film television-based podcast, and we spent like 10 minutes talking about Venom, and the rest was camel gang raping and Animal Kingdom.
I can't help.
No, it's funny.
Go on tantrums.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. This was a good one. I enjoyed this one a lot.
Yeah, good work, guys. Good
Yeah.
work. I mean, it's only been 4 months since the last one. Not bad.
Happy Halloween!
Oh yeah, we could have totally done this as a Halloween special.
We'll do one closer to Halloween.
Will we fuck? We're in October now. We're not going to do one for at least May.